As you said, like, I mean, up until the age of 20 something, I didn't really see too many Asian characters portrayed in a non-stereotypical way at all for me. And in terms of athletics, I mean, there's a lot of great, baseball players that are of Asian descent, but when you see sports that require you to be a little bit more bigger, more athletic, more faster, stronger, you really don't see too many Asian people. So to me, that was it was something really cool for me. Oh, yeah, of course, like I took martial arts myself, but by the time, like, even when I was a kid, when I was born, like, Bruce Lee had already died too. So I mean, that was one of the top Asian, like, role models that there is. But I mean, I wasn't able to see him living and breathing. But it was tough, growing up in Toronto and being in a society where things like athletic ability are praised. Playing basketball in school, and, like, always being the last one picked, and, like, always kind of being underestimated a little bit, to the point where it kind of, like, a lot of kids will try to play a sport and will try to thrive at a sport so that they can maybe make it pro one day, right? But for Asians, like, we never really had that. We never really were able to be like, okay, you know what? What's the point in even trying? Because, like, I'll never ever make to that level because I don't see anybody like me on that level. Yeah, well, not even just athletically, but just in general, right? I mean, there was not any Asian representation in a positive light, anything that I could really, relate myself to at all. And this was, like, through television at the time, and all my peers are kind of watching the same thing as me on TV. And I think it's very dangerous when a young boy doesn't see himself represented in the media, because they'll have problems feeling like they don't belong. And then they try too hard to, like, try to fit in. And when they do that, they sometimes will end up shedding, or even worse, like, rejecting their own culture sometimes. And I felt that within me a little bit. And I see that amongst my peers and amongst, like, young boys and especially young Asian males. So that's something that I really worry about in terms of underrepresentation. Anytime, like, an Asian character will show up on The Simpsons or South Park or something like that, they'd be extremely, like, almost over stereotypical. But a lot of the people who are consuming the content, you would think they know better, but they don't, right? And then they get these ingrained stereotypes into their head. And then they start thinking that, like, all Asians are, either or like this or like that, So it's very tough. It's very tough to have to kind of go out there and kind of, like, prove who you are. And some people don't, as I said, like, some people don't even go out and then try to, like, show who they are, show who their culture is. Instead, they reject it. Instead, they are, well, try to say, no, we're not like that. We're more like you. And then, we'll try to assimilate in those ways and stuff like that. And then a lot of kids will, again, reject their culture, reject learning their language, reject ever traveling to their country, even reject how they look sometimes too. We're headed into the right direction, but my child is actually biracial, so he's actually half black and half Asian. So for the black representation, I'm sure there's a lot. I was speaking to someone from your staff earlier about growing up and, like, watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right, and having that healthy black family dynamic. For Asians, it's getting there right now. A lot of the roles reprised right now in Hollywood are of comedic roles, and a lot of the comedic roles kind of just play off the Asian stereotypes as well, because I think that builds resonance with a lot of people, because this is what people are used to seeing. But until we can see Asian males and Asian females taking roles in blockbuster Hollywood hits where they are playing, like, the lead role in action roles, or, like, the lead romantic roles, then it'll be hard for these kids to kind of really feel like they can be that person, right? To really feel that they can be a lead. Instead of just, like, a supporting role or, like, a comedic role. And I think that's where we need to go. But it's definitely a start. It's definitely a lot more better and more representative than it used to be. But again, there's leaps and bounds more to go.
Hey y'all, it's Coach Acie. Just wanted to thank y'all for checking out my video. Got a couple more for you right here. And if you enjoyed, why don't you help me spread the word and hit that subscribe button before you go. I'll see y'all in the next one.